Hey guys, my name is Olga and I'm happy to see you here in this new video. And today we are gonna try a new palette from Revolution. We are gonna do 2 makeup looks. You're gonna see swatches, wear tests. As a reminder, Revolution has released 3 new palettes and we are gonna try all of them. We've already discussed this palette, so now it's time to talk about this palette. And this palette we are gonna discuss quite soon as well. So let's go. Time to do a first look, and I definitely know that my best and my favorite shade from this palette is gonna be this one because it's shimmery, it's glittery, and it's more like a topper. I'm impressed. Probably we are gonna try it today or not really. Today we are gonna try. Let's try Golden Story. Why not? And I'm gonna do a slightly smudged wing, and we are gonna try. Well, we only have a brown story here. Actually, I think that this palette is far better than the previous one from the color story point of view and actually from the quality point of view. We have quite many nice shimmers here and I want to try black shade. I do wonder whether it's black enough and whether it's pigmented enough. And as well, I want to try probably these 2 shades. I'm gonna use this one for drawing a base of my wing. I'm gonna use this one for blending the edge, this one for adding more definition, and let's try Sunlit as a transition shade. Actually, it should be more or less fine. Of course, it's gonna be orange. Yes, it's expected. But as I'm gonna try today these 2 shimmers, it should be fine. And as well, I should try this one as well. So let's go, and we are gonna start. Let's start from the crease shade. Why not? Gonna grab orange shade. It's a little bit dusty, but it's not super dusty. Starting from the crease. Well, yes, it's orange. It's simply orange. But okay, why not? Why not? Blending it and moving it slightly out. Do we have something for blending into skin? No, we don't. Okay, so I have to use this shade. May work, but yeah, this shade is orange. Yes, definitely. Blending it slightly out. Now I should blend it somehow. And for this, I'm gonna use slightly shimmery powder. So grabbing a little bit on a big fluffy brush. And gonna blend the edges right here for blending everything into skin. No harsh lines, please. Blending, and blending. Now let's create a base of my future wing. I'm gonna use shade Dune. It's not that dusty. It's quite strange. And no, it is a little bit. I do like that matte eyeshadows from these palettes. I mean, they are pigmented. They are great from this point of view. Creating a base of my wing, so dragging the shade slightly out and always start from the darkest part, and what's left on my brush, applying and adding in different directions and blending, of course. Changing the brush and grabbing sandstone. I'm gonna use it for blending edges. Right here. So blending this line. And of course, blending everything in different directions. I'm gonna use slightly bigger brush and the same shade for blending the edge right here. Changing the brush, and let's try black shade from this palette. Oh, let's see. Drawing a base of my wing. It's not that pigmented as black we have tried from Revolution Pro. as a part of Christmas collection. Yes, it's black, but the one from Christmas collection is definitely darker and more creamy. Blending everything into previous shade. Step by step, no rush. Back to brown and blending together. Let's try golden shades, and we're gonna start from this one, Foxy. Interesting shade, quite creamy. Yep, it's doable. I wasn't sure whether it's possible to apply it with a brush or no. Starting from the outer side, beautiful shade. Oh, but unfortunately, of course, it can emphasize skin texture. Changing the side, and now let's try shade Quartz. I think it should be more shimmery and should be more on neutral golden side, because this shade is more on bronze side. So grabbing it, looks interesting. And applying it in the center and closer to the inner corner. And of course above the crease. Great, but yeah, it's shimmery and emphasizes skin texture. Well, it's expected actually. Moving to the lower lid, and I'm gonna start from Dune and adding the shade to the outer. Or no. No, I should try some shimmers. So yeah, not the best idea actually. It should be better if I use something lighter, but I should try shimmers. Now, let's try to add shade Sahara closer to the outer corner. It's a little bit olive. Interesting shade. Changing the side. Now let's try to add shade Honey. Same texture, it's creamy, soft, and this particular formula doesn't really emphasize skin texture, so it's quite nice. Honey. Pure golden. Golden yellow even. I don't know. Let's try to add shade Romeo in between golden and Sahara, because it's slightly orange or even bronze. I would say more bronze shade. So it should work as a part of our look. But yeah, a little bit too much shimmers. So let's blend everything to skin. I'm gonna use a Sandstorm. So I'm blending right here. And it is a good question what I'm gonna wear in the inner corner, because I don't know. Let's try to add Impulse. I hate this formula. It's useless. It's dry. It's impossible to apply it. I mean, I think it's bad. I mean, it is bad. No, way too dark. Bad idea. We should add something else. It is a mix of brown with a bit of, I would say, beige. So let's back to Catrice. I'm gonna use this shade in the inner corner right here. Near the lash line, I'm gonna use black eyeliner. Drawing an inner line. In the waterline, I'm gonna add, and near the lash line, I'm gonna add the golden shade. Back to black shade from the palette, and I haven't applied it right here. So applying it till the inner corner. I am done with the first look using this palette. And first impressions. I think that this palette is far better than the previous one we have tried. At least we have more nice shimmers to try, and we have quite nice and wearable shades here, because the previous palette was way too red at some point. Gray shades, I'm fine with them, and if we talk about gray plus pink, they are fine as well, they are wearable. But red shades, and there we have more red shades, burgundy red, they are not that wearable actually. And today I have tried, I would say, half of this palette, and I'm impressed by these two shades. They are creamy, they are bright, and due to this, yes, of course, they can easily emphasize skin texture, but they look quite lovely. I think that I have done quite similar makeup previously, but okay, anyway, I do like these simple metallic shades. They're simple, yes, but they look nice. They are quite bright, they are creamy, it's easy to apply with a brush. I hate this formula. It's useless. It's just simply useless. You can apply it with the brush. It's not bright. It's dry. It's just simply dry. I like matte eyeshadows. They're gorgeous, easy to work, easy to blend, impressed. Like them, but this strange formula is way too strange. Okay, I'm wearing currently on lips this lip liner from Rare Beauty in shade Humble, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, and this lipstick from L'Oreal in shade 191. Now I'm gonna show you makeup look closely, and we are gonna see each other in the evening. I have my makeup on around 10 hours, and we are gonna check everything out. On this side I've used an eyeshadow primer, on this side no eyeshadow primers. So let's start from this side. Everything looks perfectly, and shimmers didn't fall off. I'm impressed. I do like this product. I do like these two shimmers. They look so gorgeous and beautiful. Lovely. On this side I haven't used anything, as a reminder. And yeah, shimmers may crease a little bit, but it's not that bad actually. And I think it looks nicely. Like it. Time for the second look, and today I'm gonna do something basic, and I'm gonna use darker shades near in the outer corner, sorry. And in the middle we are gonna add these two beautiful shades, and I think that this one is the best shade from this palette. And we have 3 matte eyeshadows to try. I think that matte eyeshadows from these palettes, they are great, but I hate this formula, guys. It's so bad. It's so bad. Anyway, let's start, and we are gonna start from Charmer, and I'm gonna use the shade as the darkest shade today. Sultry we are gonna use as a crease shade. Yeah, it's gonna be, we are gonna have quite bright look today. Starting from the outer corner, great. Pigmentation is great, and it's easy to blend these matte eyeshadows. That's why I like them. But there are some shades which look quite similar actually. So blending, and as well adding the shade on the lower lid and blending slightly out. This shade contains a bit of red, so it's brown with red undertone. Changing the brush, and let's add a bit of sultry. So gonna use it as a crease shade, as I've already told you. And starting from the darkest part, from this one. Wow, it's pigmented. It's super pigmented actually. So blending it, and of course blending these two shades together. Changing the brush, and now it's time to try Desert shade. Grabbing a little bit, and actually it is a nice transition shade, but not today. We have to try all shades, and I'm blending everything into skin using this shade. It's gonna be our last lightest shade for today. Matte eyeshadows are perfect. Shimmers time, and we are gonna start from Mirage. And let's apply it closer to the outer corner. Oh, damn it. Oh, oops. Now it's a little bit broken. Okay, starting from the outer corner. Great. This formula was available in the previous palette we have tried, so it's not new to me, and I think it is a great formula. Each shimmer, it might be applied actually as a topper. Changing the side, and let's try the best shade from this palette, Storm. Reminds me Natasha Denona slightly. Great. Oh yes, it's doable. It's gorgeous. And I'm gonna apply it close. Wow. Super, super, super. I'm happy. It's quite similar to Natasha, actually. Okay, looks gorgeous. Let's try to add a love learn or something like this. At least I want to try to apply it with a brush. I just simply want to test it. And I'm not sure that I will keep it, or I will. It doesn't look bad. Okay, I'm gonna add it closer to the inner corner. Changing the side, let's add this dark brown. And I'm gonna add it closer to the outer corner. And near the pupil, let's add Midnight. This formula is quite nice. It's creamy, texture is thin. Yes, it may emphasize skin texture, actually, but it's easy to apply it with a brush because this formula, the other one, is worse. In the inner corner, again, I should apply it something lighter. So I'm gonna use the same light shade I used yesterday. I'm gonna add it right here because we have already way too much shimmers. Near the lash line, I'm gonna add black eyeliner. And near the lash line, actually above, I'm gonna add a bit of black eyeshadows. Just a little bit. And mainly right here. In the waterline, I'm gonna add a light pink. Actually, it's a kind of light beige with light pink. Finished look. And I definitely like this palette. And I do prefer this one instead of this one because I think that the quality here is way better and the color story is way better, especially for some daily looks. Plus, we have an extremely amazing topper here, and it reminds me more high-end products, and the quality of this topper is definitely great. And we have at least 3 beautiful shimmers here. I mean, these 3. And yeah, I do like it, and I'm impressed, partially. So I think it looks lovely, and I have a kind of pink with a bit of brown story today, and I'm happy about that. Of course, you can layer sultry, and in this case the look is gonna be brighter and more on red side, but I didn't want to do it. Matte eyeshadows are great. They are perfect. They are pigmented. They are a little bit drier than in these palettes, but still, they are great. It's easy to work with them. They are blendable. They don't stuck. Yes, great. Okay, let me tell you what I'm wearing currently. Lips as lip liner Catrice Generation Joy shade 2. And over, I've applied a lip gloss from Azam in shade Golden Stars. And now I'm gonna show you makeup look closely, and we are gonna discuss everything. I have my makeup on around 11 hours, and let's check everything out. On this side I've used an eyeshadow primer and everything looks great, I would say. I do like this topper. It's so great. And it reminds me of Natasha Denona. On this side, I haven't used anything. And yeah, it may crease a bit. But the shadows, they look fine. I mean, matte eyeshadows are perfect from a wearing point of view. No questions at all. Time to talk, and we are gonna start from basic information. This makeup palette is made in China. We have 18 eyeshadows here, and each single eyeshadow weighs 1.1 grams. This palette costs around 12 euro, depending on a specific website. And as a part of a new release, as I've already told you, 3 palettes are available, and we have different color story. As a part of this color story, we have something neutral, warm here, and I would say that we are more on neutral side with this palette, and we have one, actually two, definitely warm shades here. From the quality point of view, I'm not happy with one formula, and we already discussed it as a part of this palette. So we have here the same formula in 2 shades, this one and this one. This formula is not the best one. First of all, it's not bright, it's impossible to apply it with a brush. It's doable, but you have to spend time, and it's not that interesting. It's dry. It's quite dry, and due to this, it easily can emphasize skin texture, and I'm not a big fan of this formula at all. Matte eyeshadows, they're great, guys, they're great. First of all, they're pigmented, they're quite pigmented. Pigmentation is high, it's possible to layer them if needed, if needed, and they work nicely together. And they're not dusty. They're not dusty at all. And these matte eyeshadows, they work nicely together. I don't have a single question to matte eyeshadows. Shimmers, basic metallic formula. Basic metallic formula, easy to apply with a brush, but it may emphasize skin texture a bit. And if you see that it emphasizes, I mean, they they emphasize skin texture, take off extra using another brush, and they are quite nice, I would say. We have beautiful shimmery formula here, and this formula in this palette is this one. So here we had only one shade in this formula. Here we have 2 shades in this formula. And I think that this formula is quite similar to this one. Beautiful. Bright, easy to apply with a brush, might be applied with fingers, and in this case it would appear extremely bright on eyelid, so I do like this formula. And yes, of course, it may emphasize skin texture a little bit, so bear in mind and be careful. And I do like these beautiful shades, they are so stunning and gorgeous. And my favorite formula from this palette is this one. We don't have this formula here, guys. We don't have it. And guys, it reminds me Natasha Denona and Urban Decay Space Cowboy. It's a beautiful topper, and it doesn't really have visible base. It's slightly visible, but not that much, and I do like it. It's so easy to apply it with a brush, no need to use your fingers, and it looks gorgeous. It might be used as a topper, and I actually suggest using it as a topper, or you can try to apply it as a metallic shade, but in this case it's gonna be super bright. This formula, this product doesn't fall off, but yeah, if we talk about this formula, it may crease a little bit, but not that bad, actually. And these shimmers, they don't really fall off while wearing, but they may fall off a bit while being applied. And that's it. If we talk about matte shades, they don't fade. Everything is okay from wearing point of view. Now let's talk about my beloved shades and color story. My top 1 shade from this palette, of course this one. Of course, guys, it's gorgeous. And it reminds me Natasha Denona. I mean, when I applied it, I was like, wow, gorgeous, gorgeous, beautiful. And I do like these 2 guys as well. If we talk about matte eyeshadows, my beloved shades are these 2 because they are quite complicated. They appear like basic transition shades, but not really. This shade contains more pink. This shade contains, I would say, more slightly orange, I would say, with a bit of pink. They look differently on eyelid. And by the way, if we talk about brown shades, we have one brown shade here. These two shades more on burgundy side and more on red side, but they are not that red as these shades from this palette. And here we had two brown shades which look on eyelid exactly the same. Here, no. This shade even has a bit of olive undertone. This one, I will say that they are more burgundy. And they're different, guys. They are different. On eyelid, they look different, and it's visible in this case. So let's talk about the color story. We're gonna start from the beautiful shade, one of the beautiful shade, Mirage. Actually, it looks quite similar, and it reminds me a shade from this palette. Let's quickly compare these two. It is a mix of neutral champagne with a bit of pink. I think that they are the same, almost the same. Probably, no, they look the same. Guys, they look the same, at least based on swatches. And on eyelid, I suppose that they are gonna be the same as well. Okay, I definitely won't keep this palette. I explained you why in a different video. Orange, nothing to it, basic orange, and it's orange on eyelid. Romeo, bronze, orange, and actually it's a nice basic bronze shade. Dark brown with something olive. Midnight. I would say neutral champagne, dark champagne with a bit of beige. Something like this. This shade is slightly purple, gray with pink, but I don't really like it. I don't know. Actually, you can combine this shade with this slightly pink story. Yellow. Golden yellow. So basic, nothing to it. This shade, dark brown with a bit of olive. This shade is olive, actually. Dark brown and a bit of dark brown, I would say. Dark olive. Yes, this one is dark olive. This one is black. Dot, nothing to it. This shade is basic, I would say basic golden, which is not super yellow, and it's more on bronze side. Beautiful shade. Mix of silver with a bit of, what do we call it? Thinking how to explain it. Contains a bit of pink and a bit of something warmness, actually, but more pink. I would say warm pink. Yeah, let's say it this way. This shade is a mix of beige and brown, and it's slightly dark, sultry. Looks a little bit red on eyelid, but it's not a pure red. It is a dark red with brown. Beautiful and quite complicated, and this shade is quite warm, actually. A mix of beige with a bit of warm, but at the same time it's not super orange. So interesting and quite complicated shade. Dark burgundy with a bit of something pink. And by the way, I do like the second look I did using this palette, and actually in real life it was kind of a mix of brown and pink, and more on pink side. So that's why the second look was my favorite, of course. Neutral golden shade with a bit of silver glitters. Quite complicated. It's a mix of pink, neutral pink with a bit of gray and with a bit of something warm. Really, it's complicated and it's beautiful, and I do like this shade. I think it is a nice palette if you have neutral or warm undertones. If you have cold undertones, there are some shades which you're not gonna use most likely. Especially you're not gonna use this super yellow metallic shade, and of course this orange shade as well. And these two in your case may appear more warm and even a little bit orange. I think it is a nice palette to try, and we don't have duplicated shades here, and we have quite nice formulas here. And I wanted to do some swatches, and I wanted to compare this shimmer from this palette to Urban Decay Space Cowboy Funny. Of course, it's not that bright as Urban Decay, but these two shades, I mean the base especially, they look quite similar actually. Probably it's possible to layer this shade and it may appear. Yeah, guys. It seems like it's a kind of a basic dupe. If you layer it, they are gonna be more or less the same, especially on eyelid. And as well, I wanted to compare it to Natasha Denona and to this formula. Let's swatch Sheen, for instance. But I think it's not the same. No. It's Urban Decay is closer. So if you wanna try Urban Decay, and if you don't wanna spend 20-30 euro for a single eyeshadow, try this palette from Revolution. I do impressed by this palette. The quality is great, and I do like this color story. Yes, there are some shades which I'm not gonna use, but there are some shades which are gorgeous and which work nicely and beautiful. So yes, I do like this palette, and if I had to choose which one I should sell, I will definitely sell this palette. And yeah, I wanted to keep this palette just simply because of this shade. But we have an exactly the same shade here. So that's why, yes, I think it is a nice palette to try, unless you have super pale skin and cold undertone. And again, if we compare these formulas, I think that these palettes, actually, they are a little bit better from quality point of view, especially if we talk about shimmers and metallics. Matte eyeshadows are great here and here, but in this case they are a bit drier, but at the same time they are not dusty at all, while these shades, these matte eyeshadows, might be a little bit dusty. So let me know down below what you think about this palette from Revolution. Do you like it or not? And are you gonna buy it because of this beautiful shade or no? I hope you enjoyed this video, and if yes, don't forget to put a thumbs up, and of course consider subscribing. I wish you a pleasant day, and I hope to see you soon in the next video. Bye bye!